How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Family. We're back with another FPL video, and today we're going to be looking at the best captaincy options for Game Week 9. Usually I pick 4 that are fairly obvious, and then we're going to have one kind of outside pick or something that you wouldn't normally do on a game-to-game week basis. If you haven't done so already, make sure to leave a like on the video, as well as like the video for the new lighting, as you can see me a little bit more clearly. We're also going to be doing some work with the green screen on some live streams in the upcoming videos, as well as other streams as well, so make sure to stay tuned for that, and subscribe to the channel if you are new so that you can see more content much like this. It's free to do so, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bells on so you can get the videos as soon as they are readily available, and drop us a follow over on Twitter and Twitch. It's PilotFlame226 on those platforms. Links are also in the description. We will be doing our deadline stream for Game Week 9 1 hour before the deadline, as it is on a Saturday, and I will be up in time in order to do so, and I can't wait to do it because it's been so long since we have done one. Unfortunately for Game Week 10, they're doing a Friday game again, so I won't be able to do it right on the deadline, which is a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. So without further ado, let's see the captaincy choices for Game Week 9. So the first captaincy pick we have here is Bruno Fernandes. He currently sits at 10.6 million, having gone up 0.1 million in the recent days. 53 points, 5 goals, 3 assists, just over 25% ownership, and scored 17 points versus Everton in United's 3-1 win in Game Week 8. And he has a very tasty fixture versus West Brom at home. Now, a lot of people are jumping on Fernandes just because of the big score that he got in the previous game week. However, there are some stats to show that at home, Fernandes isn't as good as what he would otherwise say with his numbers. Now, at home this season, he's only gotten 1 return, and he only stayed on the pitch for 45 minutes, and that was the penalty that he scored versus Spurs in the 6-1 drumming that United took at Old Trafford. The other 4 games, or the other 3 games, sorry, because they've only played 7 because they had a bye in Game Week 1. He didn't score any. He got, I think it was 2, 2, and 3 in those games. One of those being a 0-0 draw versus Chelsea, and the other 2 which United conceded. And overall, just not very good at home. But away from home, has scored double-digit goals in all 3 games versus Everton, versus I'm trying to think who the other teams were. They're spacing me out at the moment, but Everton was the most recent one. I think his scores have been like 11, 12, and 17 or something crazy like that. And if you actually look at his numbers from last season as well, he only got 39% of his total points overall at home last season, and he is the penalty taker. And you think United at Old Trafford, there was, some of the fans were there for a few of his games. You would have thought that maybe he would have got, monster holes, and he did, but most of those came away from home. So it's just something to do with Fernandes where he may not be, the best captaincy shout for United at home, even though West Brom does look like a tasty fixture on paper. Now, the other Manchester United captaincy option, much like Bruno Fernandes, who could potentially still be a good captaincy option, even though his home numbers don't necessarily suggest it, is Marcus Rashford, who is somebody who has proven himself in all metrics at home. He currently sits at 9.6 million, having gone up 0.1 from his original 9.5 million value at the beginning of the season. 35 points, 2 goals, 3 assists in the league with an 8.3% ownership, and 5 points scored in Game Week 8. And he also has the same fixture with an FTR rating of 2 versus West Brom away. Now, Rashford, across all metrics versus Bruno Fernandes, XG non-penalty, big chances created, all of these major stats, touches, shots in the box, everything, he is better than Fernandes at home. Away from home, completely different story. I guess it's something about, the Manchester atmosphere, obviously being a local lad. Makes sense that he would, be more hyped up to play at home. However, United's form hasn't been great, at home recently, but West Brom, a team that's probably going to be down the bottom, I would think that he would definitely be up for the occasion and get back to winning ways for United. And they need to, kickstart off after the international break, because between now and Christmas is when teams are going to basically cement their kind of general positioning for the end of the season. In this period, there are so many game weeks in such a short space of time that this could make or break where teams go on their runs, or they end up fumbling and resulting in the bottom half of the table. However, I think Rashford doing a lot of stuff good off the pitch. He still has a shoulder injury which he suffered in the Everton game. and potentially missed, some of the England games because of that injury, could potentially be a bit of a worry. I think he'll probably just shrug it off. No pun intended there, obviously being a shoulder. But I think he's just the type of person that can play through, the little knocks and these sorts of things. Unless it's super serious, then we'll see him out. But if he's, even 70-80%, I think he definitely wants to play in this. He wants to get United back to winning ways at home. And I think it could be a great captaincy option this week versus West Brom at home. The next player we have up on our list is Jack Grealish. He started the season at 7 million, has gone up 0.5 million to his current 7.5 million pound evaluation. He has 60 points this season, a very nice total for him. 4 goals, 6 assists, 35.8% ownership, and scored 6 points in their 3-1 battering of Arsenal away from home in the previous game. Now, he has a very tasty fixture versus Brighton at home, and last season he scored both times when he played against Brighton last season, so that seems to be pretty good of a trend to follow. He's also created the most big chances over the last 4 game weeks out of any player with 4, and he's also had 3 big chances himself in the past 4 game weeks, which is quite good for somebody who is a fairly mid-priced midfielder. 7.5 is kind of the mid-price bracket, and if you're comparing him to the likes of James Rodriguez, who's had his injury concerns and that sort of stuff, and in the forward bracket, Calvert-Lewin, who's done similar things for the same amount of money, just in the forward line, Jack Grealish is definitely looking like a good option. Last week I believe he was our kind of differential captain. He's definitely not a differential captain this week because Mohamed Salah could be out of the game, obviously having tested positive. City and Spurs play each other. United hasn't been as good as what they should be, you would think. Chelsea still finding their feet, and no real definitive answer as to who their captaincy option could be, although a lot of people might be going for Werner this week or potentially Ziyech if they have those assets in their team. But Jack Grealish, their team is great at counterattacking, and that's perfect against Brighton, who like to attack and play out from the back and do all these sorts of things. But with the likes of Grealish and Barkley and Watkins playing the way they are, with just the stable 2 and McGinn and Douglas Luiz behind them, I think that they're a fantastic team at the moment. Very exciting to watch. And if you have Jack Grealish, probably consider captaining because he's also the 4th highest owned in the top 10K. So could be very good returns if he were to get some returns versus Brighton this week and you put the armband on him. Now, a player that I currently have in my own team who currently is with the armband at the moment is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He currently sits at 7.8 million after going up 0.8 from his 7 million initial evaluation. 57 points, 8 goals, 1 assist, 57.1% ownership, and had a game week score of 5 in their 3-1 loss versus Manchester United. But he has a very, very good fixture versus Fulham this game week with an FTR rating of 2. Now, Fulham is I think it's like 3rd or 4th lowest for XG conceded, which is just over 6 in the last 4 games, and they should have potentially conceded even 2 more based on what the stats say, as well as they're not very good at defending aerial threats. They've conceded 14 headed attempts at goal across the, I don't know if that's the season or the the last 4 games, but they can see quite a lot of headers overall. And who better to do that than Calvert-Lewin, who's been heading the ball in off his ponytail, off his beard, off his mustache, his ear, his eye, his nose, and most importantly, his head, and he ends up putting it in the back of the net. And someone who's going to be potentially your highest owned percentage player, if you have him in your team, could be very good as a captaincy option, and I'm definitely considering him, not owning any United players, and Salah being out at the moment, as well as them having a pretty depleted back line. I think that Calvert-Lewin could be the best choice for me. I'll leave a poll on YouTube as well, and I'll put a bunch of the players in there that are going to be most commonly captained, and we'll see who you guys pick. But currently, my money's on Calvert-Lewin, as I think he could get a nice haul versus Fulham this game week. And last but not least, for our differential captain is going to be Jamie Vardy. Now, you're probably thinking, how could Jamie Vardy, the Golden Boot winner from last season, someone who scored 8 goals with 2 assists, almost 60 points this season, and having returned in the previous game, should have had 2 goals had he just scored the second penalty. be a differential captaincy for this week? Well, I'll tell you. Very few and far between do you get a fixture where it's an FDR rating of 5. That is the maximum it could possibly be, and that is versus Liverpool away. Obviously, being the champions, they definitely warrant that FDR rating when you face them at Anfield. However, they could only have potentially one fit defender, as it were, out of their back 5, including their goalkeeper, and that is their goalkeeper in Alisson. Robertson could potentially be injured. We know Trent's out for 4 weeks. Gomez and Van Dijk are out long term. So you could see a very makeshift back line, as well as Henderson pulled up with tightness. I think it's in his thigh in one of the England fixtures, so he could be out as well. Salah as well, someone who tracks back quite a lot, along with Sadio Mane when asked to do so. He could be out as well after testing positive. And for a team that could just soak up the pressure and do exactly what they did versus Manchester City, because Klopp's team's going to play a similar style of football in terms of they want to be on the front foot, Jamie Vardy is probably the best player in the world at counterattacking a team with a weak defense, and I don't think the likes of Matip or any rookie is going to be able to stop him, and he could be an outside captaincy option this game week. I wouldn't put it past the Englishman to potentially get a penalty. Maybe one of the, either Matip or one of the central defenders brings him down for a penalty and he puts it away. Or he potentially gets one of those typical Jamie Vardy goals. Balls played into Tielemans quickly to Maddison over the top into Vardy, who's just basically one-on-one with Alisson, and then he puts it away as per normal. I could definitely see that happening this game week, and is an outside captaincy shout if you have him for game week 9. And that's going to do it for the Game Week 9 edition for Best Captaincy Picks for the game week. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We greatly appreciate it. We're going over 1,200 subscribers, which is fantastic. We can make our way up to 1,300 and continue on trucking along. Also, make sure to turn those notification bells on so that you can get all the content as soon as it is readily available. And make sure to check out the poll that I'm going to be putting up by the time you see this video, to see who you're going to be captaining this game week. Let me know, as well as leave a comment down below on the videos, that potentially the captaincy choices that you may be having, or the dilemma that you may be having going into this game week. Also, give us a follow over on Twitter and Twitch, PilotFlame226 on those platforms. Make sure to check out the pinned comment down below. It will tell you when we are doing our stream over on Twitch for the deadline stream. Spoiler, it's going to be 1 hour before the deadline. Make sure to come check us out over there on Twitch. Link is also in the description. And if there are any updates or video posts, you can catch those over on Twitter. Link is also in the description, but it's just PilotFlame226 on all the platforms. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, take care.